So what does it feel like to be up here with you guys?
Yeah, it's cool. I just got the call last night and came up this morning, so nice to get on the ice with them and do a little pregame skate. So it was good.
What have they told you as far as their plans are?
No.
I mean, is it, or how long you'll be up here? Anything?
No, not too much yet. Just kind of playing it by ear right now. But I was told to be ready for morning skate today and potentially back up tonight. So just ready for that.
How hungry are you to get into another NHL game? I mean, it's been.
That's what I'm striving for sure. So I've had a successful year so far down there, and I want to continue that for sure. But this is where I want to be.
What's been the keys to just your development this year and just how you've progressed in Grand Rapids?
Yeah, it helps having a great team down there. Obviously a great team on ice, but off the ice as well. We have a really good group in there, so that's made it easy, and been playing good, so still feeling confident for sure. So that helps as well.
I'm sure you've been anticipating a call like this and not knowing when it's going to come. Like, how have you balanced kind of staying ready for it with locking in on what's been a big year down there?
Yeah, just staying patient. Just trying to stay where my feet are and worry about what I can. So just worrying about the controllables and doing what I can. Winning a lot of hockey games down there. That's the most important thing that I've been focusing on.
Sebastian, individually, where do you feel like your game has taken the biggest strides this season?
A lot. I feel like my skating's gotten better, my hands have gotten better. Working through traffic better as well, I think. There's a lot of small details in the game that have gotten better, and I think the confidence has helped a lot too. Just playing my game, knowing my game, and the results have been there.
Showing the consistency you have to. How important has that been?
Yeah, it's been a big part. I think looking back at past seasons, having strong starts or strong finish, not being able to have that full season. So that was a big important thing for me this year to come in and there's still been a couple blimps, a game or two here and there, but for the most part, I feel like I have been more consistent.
Have you spoken with guys like Nate Danielson and Michael Brandt-New-Yard about their experiences up here?
Yeah, we're chatting all the time, and they both had positive experiences up here, and kind of told the same thing, going back down there, just working and getting better, and they've been great for us down there, so they're chomping at the bits to get back here as well.
Coach, what's been the biggest keys behind the Griffins' success? Obviously, already clinching a playoff spot this early in late in the season.
Yeah, it's looking up and down the whole lineup. Really strong forward group. I think we got the most goals in the league, and at the same time, the least given up. So, great deep core. Gustav has been great as well. Even Guylander when he's coming, he's been fantastic as well. So, we're getting everything from everybody, and injuries here and there, but the next man up has been really good for us.
Just the familiarity of so many teammates on ice this morning, what does that add to get the call up in a transition like this?
Yeah, it's cool. Especially Shiner and Marco and those guys, Simon. Guys I've played with before. So just getting to the ring, feeling comfortable around these guys. I've been up, was up for a little bit last year, so familiar with these guys and familiar with the staff for sure, which has made it easier.
You mentioned the success you guys have had along there. What does that do for you, just the confidence, I guess, that probably builds?
It's huge. For a goalie, confidence is 70-80% of the battle. So, when you're feeling good night in, night out, it's really big.
This is more veteran duo in terms of the league, one of the most years that they've had on. What have you taken away or hoped to from this duo that you played around?
Yeah, I learned a lot from them in training camp, and when I do get my chances, both of them are really great with me. Always open to chat and stuff. So, whether it's just watching them or talking to them, trying to pick their brains as much as possible. Whether it be technical wise or just mentality, even at the end of the day. So, they've both been around for a long time. Both had excellent careers and still doing a heck of a job. And just trying to copy some of the stuff they do.
I know Michael Brandt-New-Yard got the AHL Player of the Week last week. I mean, where have you seen his game kind of take off lately?
Well, he's got a heck of a shot. So he's using that more. I think I saw 17 shots in 3 games, which is he's got to be doing that. He's got to put pucks on net. And, very physical too. He's got a good motor. He's skating all the time. So the physical aspect is there. He's starting to grow with that mental aspect as well, and he's been really good for us down there.
I don't know if you've gotten to know Ozzy at all, but what's it like to be in a stall with his photo above it?
Yeah, pretty cool. I've chatted with him a couple times, and just the legacy he's had here, with the Stanley Cups, and he was here forever. So really cool, and looking around and seeing the different names and then faces around here. Obviously this organization is one of the top at all time, and just really cool to be here.
You said coming into the season that this was going to be a key year for you. Do you feel like you've lived up to those expectations so far this season?
So far, it's been good. It could be better for sure. I think still, it could always be better somehow, some way. But we got a big stretch coming up here, and we want to have a really deep playoff run here. So that's going to be the key thing for me.
Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Sebastian? Morning. Any goaltending news for us?
Talbot starts, Cossa backs up. Gibson did skate today. He's feeling much better than he did the other day, but not quite ready to go in this game.
So kind of day-to-day.
Oh, for sure.
But also as far as Sebastian being up here.
I'm sorry?
As far as Sebastian being up here, I mean, it's kind of day-to-day.
Well, it means today, and then we'll see what happens from there. But he's going to back up tonight, and Talbot is going to start.
Have you and Steve had a conversation about, I mean, it would be nice to see Sebastian in a game at some point.
We've seen him in a lot of games in the American League. He's done a tremendous job working on his game down there. He's led that team to a lot of wins. We're in a situation where we're trying to win as much as we possibly can, which may be different than 3 or 4 years ago here, where you were looking at players and you were, in some sense, giving tryouts. We feel really, really good about Sebastian. If we need him, we're ready to call him. We didn't hesitate at all today. So there may be a chance that he gets an opportunity to play this year down the road, but right now we have the 2 that we're confident in.
The other day against Carolina, Patrick was able to kind of break out of a mini slump of his own, and he said that he feels like he's had a lot of chances. They just didn't go in, but it was nice to see it go in. Well, how have you liked his game the last several weeks leading up to before the break, and what can he provide for this team going into such a critical
Patrick Kane,
run?
right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, he's not wrong when he says he's had multiple chances. There's a rebound, I think, in Carolina that went right to him. He's hit posts, and it's been an interesting year for him. If you think all the way back to, I don't know who we were playing, the empty net with the goaltender out and puck goes across the goal, and like he's had a lot of looks like that. If they would have, crossed the line at that time, we'd be talking about him with having a lot more goals in the bank. It's not from lack of chances. So he continues to create there. We think he is and will be down the stretch a real big part of our group going forward.
One more on Sebastian. All that winning they've done in Grand Rapids, what's the value of that for a goalie in particular, do you think?
Well, goalie in particular, there's only 2 of them and they play all 60 minutes. It's, we play a team sport. Everybody goes out and hands off a shift and plays their 20 minutes or 18 or whatever. All of a sudden the goalies play 60. So they're involved from minute 1 all the way through and so important. Pastava and Cossa, both down there, have provided them with outstanding goaltending. Now the team around them's played very, very good, so the confidence is going both ways. It's coming from players to goaltenders and goaltenders to players, and as a result, they end up, clinching a playoff spot in a record amount of time. So hats off to all of them, and it's really good for our organization that they've experienced that.
4 of a possible 6 on the road trip. What are your biggest takeaways from that first stretch coming out of the break for the group?
Well, we were all, quite frankly, all over the map. We started in Ottawa, and that first period was a little bit scary. We were really slow reacting. I thought we would perform better, but then we worked our way into the game, and I thought we were better in the second half. Carolina, a lot of self-inflicted individual mistakes. I think my comments after that were, at times you lose as a complete team, and then there's other times where just individuals make some mistakes, and it hurts everybody. And then the response game in Nashville was good to see. Talbot in particular having to come in those types of circumstances. The team owed him a good game. We hadn't played real well in front of him in a lot of his starts lately. So everybody responded. We had some players that needed to give us more and still need to give us more, perform at an elevated level. And that gave us a chance to score a little more 5-on-5 and to come away with points.
Todd, the March hurdle has been real for this team. The narrative has loud at times on the outside. I know it's just your second March here, but what kind of sense do you get from the players about their eagerness to prove that they can indeed elevate their play in this month?
Well, they aren't the 24, 25 Red Wings. They're not the 23, 24 Red Wings. They're not the 22, 23 Red Wings. The last time I looked, I think there was 13 or 14 players from 2 years ago that aren't here anymore, and there's 8 or 9 from last year. So this team gets to as I've said it already, I'm going to use the same quote, write their own story. And they believe in themselves. There's no guarantee that we run the table and win every game or lose every game. The other team always has a say in it, no matter what month it is. And, we're off to a good start in March. Let's put it that way. And we get to play at home for the first time in probably a month and a half, or pretty darn close to it. So we're looking forward to that. But nobody in that room is saying, hey, it's March. Now what's going to happen? It doesn't come up. It comes up in this little room day in and day out and day in and day out. Good.